Hey, second grade scientists. Oh my goodness. I can't believe this is how we're having a science lesson. This is definitely not how I ever expected to be teaching you guys and working with you on science. It feels kind of weird, doesn't it? But I'm going to do my best to try to help keep you learning some awesome stuff for the rest of the school year. I want you to know I miss you very, very much. Thought about you guys every single day since school's closed, and it's just not the same without you in my life every day. All right, so let's get started. Since it's been a long time since we've had science time together, I want to use today to just do a review video, kind of reviewing what we learned about with sound before we had to leave school. This will help get our brains kind of focused back on science again. We started our sound unit with this thing. Remember this tube? And remember what happens when we shake it? Okay. So remember we learned that sound is made from a vibration. A vibration is when something shakes a little, okay? And that shaking, those vibrations, travel through the air as little waves, all through the air. We can't see the waves with our eyes, but scientists have found a way to show us that they're there. This cool tube helps show the vibration as this little spring thing shakes, and it causes vibration that echoes. Let me see if you can see inside. Whoop, let's see. There we go. Echoes through that empty tube part, and it travels as a wave into our ears so we can hear it. But then as soon as I touch the spring, the sound stops instantly because I made it stop shaking. So there's the vibration. And it stops when I don't let it vibrate anymore. So the sound waves can't travel. There's no vibration. We also explored sound waves and vibrations using a tuning fork. Remember this? I wish that there was a way for you to be able to reach through that screen and touch it now and get to tap it on your knee and hold it up to your ear and listen to it like we did in class. There's not really a way for you to do that now, unfortunately. But hopefully seeing it will help you remember what we did in class with it. Okay? Remember how we tapped it, usually on our knees or on the carpet, and then held it up to our ear and we could hear the sound that it made. We could touch it and even feel that shaking vibration. Some of us laughed because if you touch it to your nose, it kind of tickled. Remember that? Ugh. And some of you even looked real closely at it and you could see the little metal prongs vibrating. So that was pretty cool. We also looked at vibration with little cymbals. And if you remember, when I held on to the metal parts and tapped them, they definitely still vibrate because you can hear that sound. But the vibration can't keep going because I'm squeezing the metal and I won't let it actually shake very much. But if I hold the strings on the top, we can hear that sound for a whole lot longer because it lets them keep vibrating or keep shaking like that. Okay? So I think that helps you remember, or I hope it helps you remember a little bit about the sound waves and the vibrations that cause sound. The next thing we talked about was pitch. Do you remember what pitch is? I think you do that with Mr. Jones in music time too. Pitch is how high or how low the sound is. And remember, that's different than volume. Volume is how loud or quiet. So let's see if we can drive somebody at home with you a little crazy here. Let's practice. So right now, can you make a loud, low sound? Go. Oh, wow. That was loud, and it definitely had a low, rumbly sound. Ah, that that might be a good one. Okay, now can you do a loud high sound? Yikes. I hope you didn't just disturb a sleeping baby or somebody at your house trying to work. Oops. So a high, loud sound might sound more like, ah, right? Maybe next time we should practice that high and low sound with a quiet volume. What do you think? I don't know. Loud ones are more fun, right? Okay, so the tuning forks, these things, remember the two different sizes we had? These help show pitch. And if we tap each one on the ground and hold them up to our ears, do you remember which one makes a high sound? Remember? Yep, the little one. The smaller one makes a high sound. The bigger one makes the low, rumbly sound. Same thing. I can't show you much with the tuning forks, but I can show you with my little cowbells. Remember this? Same thing. The little one makes a high pitch, and the big one makes a low pitch. So that shows that high and low pitch. Another thing that can show pitch is this cool little gadget, I guess. We were going to make some of these at the end of the school year, or at the end of this unit at school, and obviously we didn't get a chance to do them. But basically it's made with this little black, it's called a bulb. You can squeeze it, okay? It's squishy. And then right here you might recognize looks like a whistle. And then there's a clear plastic tube hooked on it and a wooden stick. And we'll put the wooden stick inside. As I squeeze this part, air that's inside the little squishy bulb comes out the whistle. And as it comes out, it makes a little sound. That's how a whistle works. But when I move this, it has a different amount of space inside for the air to move around. So it makes it change pitch. I want you to listen and see if you can hear it. I hope this works okay for you. Let's start here. Did you notice when it was really close together, it made a higher pitch sound? And when it was spread apart and there was more space in there, it had a lower sound. This actually works a lot like the musical instrument called a trombone. If you've ever seen those big gold brass trombones, the person blows air into the mouthpiece and you have to use your hands and you move part of the instrument back and forth. And as you do that, it changes the pitch. So that's a pretty cool instrument that works with that. All right, I have one more pitch activity I want to show you, and I want to see if this will work. I'm going to move my camera. Let's see. And I have this little red and white table here. All right, and I have a ruler. If you see my ruler here on the edge of the table, I'm going to hold on to it real tightly on the table so it's hanging off. And when I press and let go, the ruler is going to vibrate. It's going to shake. And I want you to listen to the sound it makes. Can you hear that? You can kind of see it shaking too. Now watch what happens when I move my ruler so that not as much hangs off. Do you think it's going to make a lower sound or a higher sound? Any ideas? All right, let's try it. Could you notice what it was doing? Did you notice how as more of it was hanging off the table, so it's almost like it was bigger hanging off the edge, it made a low sound, kind of like the bigger tuning fork and the bigger cowbell. And then when I moved the ruler closer, so only a little bit was hanging off the end, it was more like the little tuning fork or the little cowbell, and it had the higher pitched sound. So if you have a ruler at your house or some kind of stick or something that would sort of, if you flicked it, it would kind of shake a little bit, you could try to do that at home and practice that. It's a pretty cool activity to do for pitch. Do you remember when we tapped all the drinking glasses filled with water with the little metal, I think I used a metal thermometer, but you could use a metal spoon? That's something you could definitely do at home. It works best if all of the glasses are the same shape and the same size, and then just put different amounts of water inside them and use a metal spoon and tap on it and hear the different pitches. See if you can make a song with it. Just be careful that you tap very gently so you don't break any glasses. We don't want any broken glass anywhere. All right, before we left school, we were just starting to learn about this, and I gave you guys a picture that looked like this for your notebook. Do you remember what that is? This is the part of our body that helps us hear sounds. So this is our ear. And if you remember, let's see, there's the outer ear. That's the part of your ear that sticks off the side of your head that you can actually see, right? So that outer ear catches the sound waves and pushes them inside our head. So that's the outer ear. And then you have this little tunnel, and that's called the ear canal. And the waves get caught in the ear, the outer ear, and they go down that little tunnel. And there's a little flap of skin right here, and it looks a lot like the top of a drum. Remember what it's called? That's the eardrum. And it works a little bit like a real drum. So that's a really tiny piece of skin, and it shakes and vibrates when the sound wave gets in there and hits it. And when that shakes, it makes all of these little bitty bones in your ear shake. Remember we had the different bones? There's 3 teeny tiny bones inside your ear, and they're the smallest bones in your whole body. And they all vibrate or shake, and that sends it to this thing that looks like a snail, and it's called a cochlea. And the cochlea has little bitty hairs inside it. Teeny tiny hairs, almost like smaller than the hairs on your arm. And those hairs vibrate, and that's what sends a message to your brain. And then your brain understands what you hear. So if you hear a sound and your brain is the part that says, I think that was a dog barking, or sounded like thunder, or it sounded like music, or my best friend talking. There's so many different sounds in the world, and your ears and your brain work together to help you hear the sounds and understand what those sounds are. It's definitely amazing, especially how fast it happens. This is the book we looked at too. Just wanted to show you, that's a little bit better picture than the drawing. So you can see the ear and the ear canal. Put your finger on the screen. Can you point to the eardrum? And then the tiny bones that you can barely even see. And can you point to the cochlea? Remember, the cochlea looks like a snail, and it sends it to your brain. Very cool. Okay. The last thing I want to talk about with you today before we are finished is one more part of your body that has something to do with sound. Can you think of anything else on your body